Jarvis Ruffin is the name of the man shot multiple times and killed at the Park Springs apartment complex in West Jackson Thursday morning about midnight. He died while changing the lock on the door of the apartment where his children's mother stays. She had been having trouble with another man. No arrests announced. If you're on Entergy, you should be aware that rates will stay steady after a vote from the State Public Service Commission this week. That's despite upgrades in the company building a power plant in the Delta. But that doesn't mean your bill won't go up. You will likely get higher bills as you use more power this summer. The Fighting Okras continued struggle.
We're the Fighting Okra, not the barely hanging on okra.
Delta State President Dr. Daniel Ennis in front of the State College Board Thursday during their regular meeting, which was held at Delta State.
We've overhauled our enrollment operation. We're launching a new branding campaign. We have fiscal stability, and we have a product we're proud of.
Ennis says the university is offering more marketable degrees after some drastic changes. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WIAB. I'm Chris Davis.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are the individual views and opinions of the people expressing them and do not necessarily reflect those of this radio station, its parent, affiliated, or related entities, agents, or employees.
Welcome to Crossing the Aisle, the daily show where politics and relationships collide. I'm Shaun, a Democrat who believes in building bridges.
And I'm Lindsey, a Republican who thinks he's building them in the wrong direction.
Every day we break down the biggest political stories from both sides, we challenge each other's views, and somehow we still sit down for dinner.
No shouting matches, no echo chambers. Just real conversations around the issues that divide us and the common ground we can sometimes find.
So whether you're here to debate, learn, or just hear how a politically opposite couple makes it work,
this is Crossing the Aisle. Welcome into Crossing the Aisle on this beautiful Friday, the last day that Shaun can say he is 45.
funny stuff.
Happy birthday to you.
It's not my birthday yet. Till tomorrow. Anyway.
Birthday, dear Democrat.
Yeah. That's right. You sang in the pageant, didn't you?
Yeah.
The Q&A section didn't work quite as well as the singing, though.
Actually, that was my strongest area, Shaun.
I thought you said you messed up that one question about who was the sons of Yazoo City or whatever.
That was in the private interview, and I came back. I came back from that. What kind of 17-year-old talks like that?
What?
Name us a famous son from your hometown.
Well, yeah, it's Willie Morris, Haley Barber. There's a lot of them.
Well, I mean, I clearly thought SUN was the word son.
There's a lot of I
was like, there's only one son, right? I don't know.
I mean, there's one sun, one moon that you don't think we landed on and all that.
Because
stuff.
we didn't. It's totally faked. Totally faked.
Anyway.
Y'all want to call and tell Shaun happy birthday and that we did not land on the moon. You can do that by calling 601-879-0002. He is, in fact, 6 years older than me.
For a couple months. Yeah. You get it for a couple months. Right. Yeah. Anyway, I hope everyone's having a good Friday. We've got some cool topics today. I think we'll probably fall into, it's obviously we've been talking about Iran. Everybody's talking about that. Obviously, I'm also getting a little burned out, even though I can't stop making social media posts, making fun of everybody. But in that regard, one thing I did see was funny that I will talk about was Laura Loomer. Did you see that thing that she wrote about Tucker Carlson?
I try not to engage with her.
For those of you that don't know, Laura Loomer is kind of like this. I don't know. What would you describe her as, Lindsey? She's on your side of the aisle.
No, she's not. She hates Moms for Liberty.
She does. But she's a a MAGA influencer, I guess you would say. Is that right?
I don't know what she is. Remember when she was like on Trump's plane and going to some of his campaign events with him and all of his team was like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Like this woman is crazy.
Do not have her around.
I mean, yeah, she's nuts though. But she put out a tweet yesterday that said, "Dear Tucker Carlson, I'm sorry I don't have the opportunity today to tell you to go F off to your face and call you out for letting your mouth serve as a sea warmer," which I'll call it, she can use the word pee-pee warmer, but it's the other word with a C for Arabs. I'm sorry I can't say F you to your face for the way you undermine President Trump. And then it's funny because President Trump gave an interview yesterday where he said, yeah, Tucker called me, man. He apologized, worked it out. It's no big deal. That's what I was just listening to it on the drive over here, actually. Yeah, Laura Loomer's. And also I don't know. I'm trying to understand the context of this tweet because Iranians are Persians, not Arabs. And so that was kind of confusing to me. I guess she's kind of like Ted Cruz and doesn't know who lives in Iran. But maybe
Well,
it's
like all these Pride Month LGBT plus
Yeah, that's a good
whatever
point.
alphabet mafia people who are pro-Palestine, and it's like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? Come on.
Well, I mean, like I was saying yesterday, that Whoopi Goldberg was talking about how like black people are treated worse in the United States than a lot of Iranians. I'm like, I mean, they throw gay people off buildings in Iran, and they, I mean, it's
Absurd.
not, I don't know. I
It's
mean,
a crazy world we live in, Sean.
yeah, it just, it's detachment from reality. I think it just like Laura Loomer or Whoopi, they're on different sides of the aisle, but act like they live in different realities from the rest of us. I think, and
Yeah.
I don't know that. And maybe she's referring to, like, I know there's some things about, did Tucker take any money from Qatar or Qatar or however you pronounce that? I think always say Qatar, but the
It is Qatar.
yeah, I've heard some people call it Qatar too, but I say Qatar. So.
Well, I was on Qatar Airlines when I went to Bangladesh, and it was everybody called it Qatar.
Okay, well then you would know. I've never been on Qatar Airlines, but yeah. So I mean, but if she's referring to his defense of, he's not defending the Iranians in any way. All thing he said was we shouldn't invade them, which I don't know how that really makes him a sea warmer. But for the, I guess I would call him.
And what kind of respectable woman even speaks like that? Come on.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so that's
How classy is she?
It's not very. I mean, I think that's kind of her shtick, though. She says all this crazy lunatic stuff on there, and that to get a rise out of people, and people look at it, and it's like, I mean, she has like the craziest things you could possibly say, and then puts it out there. So I don't know why she's been able. I mean, I guess maybe it's just the shock value of it. I guess I don't know. I don't know why anyone takes her seriously, but I think Tucker is someone to take very seriously, and he made some really good points.
Except when he does that laugh, I can't.
The laugh is annoying.
Can't take it.
But he skewered Ted Cruz like I've never seen anybody in an interview with a politician do to someone. Like that was just a takedown of a kind. So it was.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's some parts of it, but there are other parts when I thought that Ted Cruz came off as the more classy one in that interview, because Tucker just was being such a jerk at some points of it.
Well, I think he was being a jerk, but and I think I don't care for the rude attitude. I don't like that part about it when he does that. But the points he was making, that Ted was just evading, like AIPAC, like you get money from AIPAC. Is that a lobby for Israel? Well, yes, it is. I mean, and Ted's trying to like dodge the issue. Then Ted's also saying like, I came into the Senate because my number one goal was to be the senator for Israel. Well, shouldn't you be the senator for the United States? That's the only point Tucker made, which I thought was pretty valid. And then everybody's getting, or Ted's getting a rise out of that. Like, that's not what I meant. Well, you just said it. You said you're the senator for Israel. You wanted to protect Israel. I mean, is that because Israel?
I thought we weren't talking about this today.
Sorry. I keep watching the clips, and I'm like, it's also funny too, because, everybody on the left has always hated Tucker, but you see like the Young Turks and all these other liberal podcasts are like, go Tucker, because Ted Cruz, like I've always said this, you've heard me say this, Ted Cruz and Gavin Newsom are like the same person. See, like the way y'all hate Gavin Newsom, that's the way we feel about Ted Cruz. They're like these extreme ends.
I don't know about all that.
Well, see, because you can't see it, but if you're on the left, you're like,
I don't see that.
You're like Ted Cruz. Who do I hate more? It's definitely Ted Cruz over Tucker. So, that's where that comes from. But anyway, yeah. So we were not going to talk about that, but it came up today. What we're going to talk about today is the forfeiture laws in Mississippi, and what that is if you get pulled over by the police and you're suspected of drug trafficking, being in the course and scope of like moving drugs, selling drugs, whatever, you can get your property taken. And this happened in Brandon, actually, and with this case called Rae Chung, and it was a case where a guy.
Was it the Goon Squad?
No, I think it was Brandon police, actually. And look, some of their arguments are legitimate going through it. I guess it's just the whole.
I don't know about that.
Well, let me finish. I mean, I don't mean it like what you think I'm going to say. I could see why they thought he was running drugs. I can understand that. I think it's the whole validity of the law that you and I probably agree have an issue of. So
legislators, listen up. This is something that needs to be changed.
Well, yeah, and it's Mississippi Code annotated 4129-153. And what it is essentially is it becomes a civil action. So if property is suspected to be used in a drug transaction or trafficking drugs, moving drugs, they're like basically all the guys going on the interstate that are moving dope, which most of them are, they catch.
You represent all those guys.
I mean, yeah, well, no, not my clients, but like everybody else. And
okay,
but my guys are innocent. So they're running dope back and forth on I-20, and they pull them over, and they're able to seize and forfeit their cash and property. And that's before they're ever convicted, is kind of the rub. So because it becomes a civil action, so it's a civil standard, which is lower than a criminal standard, as you're learning now from the Karen Reed trial, how that's working out. Now she's going to a civil case. So the police can pull you over if they've got certain factors that they meet that that they suspect that this is used in the course and scope of like a drug transaction or drug trafficking. Then they can seize the cash and seize the automobiles. Or
the word there is suspect.
Right.
So there can be absolutely no evidence of drugs on a vehicle, but an enormous amount of cash, and the cops can take it.
Yeah, I mean,
that's insane. That is government overreach and tyranny in the highest form that I can imagine.
Well, I mean, and that's what happened in this Rae Chung thing. So he's a 70-year-old South Korean man that was driving a commercial tractor trailer, and he was pulled over, but they found $225,000 worth of cash in his vehicle, which were all in separate envelopes with $5,000 in each envelope. So looked kind of weird, like that he had $5,000.
It's his prerogative.
Yeah, no, I understand that. They didn't find any drugs in the car.
He just has, it's not illegal.
Right. But there were certain factors that the police said that, would make him seem to be that he was trafficking drugs. One was they did like a canine sniff test. I don't know that actually found any, didn't hit or not. There was he used paper logs instead of electronic logs, which I guess is an indicator as well. So these are like certain factors.
I do things on paper. I like paper.
Right. Yeah, no,
I actually write stuff down.
I'm just telling you what's in the opinion here.
Well, my opinion is the government can F off if they pull me over and think they're going to take my property when they have no evidence that I'm doing anything illegal. That's wrong. Those cops should be arrested. They're the ones that should be put in jail over this.
Okay, well, I think we probably agree on that, but let's move that to a different situation. I'll give you this hypothetical. What if you did have a bunch of dope in the car?
But he didn't.
But let's say you did. Like, you did have a bunch of dope in the car, and they seized the car and the cash you got in the car. They're obviously going to take the dope. That's illegal to have. But they're going to forfeit that property before you're ever convicted of the crime of trafficking, whatever it is.
What do you mean by forfeit?
Okay, so the government is going to keep whatever cash or property they find that they suspect is used in the course and the scope of a drug trafficking or whatever kind of situation before you're convicted of the crime. But you're not convicted yet. This is before they file a civil action to forfeit.
But they found drugs in the car. That's a completely
many situations
different situation there.
Right, but you're still getting your property taken from you before you're actually convicted of the crime.
I mean, I don't know how much more guilty you can be than actually having the drugs on you and them seeing it in real time, in person.
Right, I understand that. Sure.
I mean, you either see drugs in the car or you don't.
Right.
And if you don't, you shouldn't be able to take anything from that person.
But at that time, you've not been convicted. So they can do this before you're even indicted or anything. They can file this forfeiture
because
action.
they found drugs on you and in your vehicle. I mean, I understand that.
Okay, so you're okay with them taking your property and keeping it forfeited and putting it.
But I don't know what you mean by forfeit. Like, I mean, is it not put somewhere until?
No, that means the state takes your property or the county or whatever.
And so like you never get it back, even if you're cleared of the charges?
Not under the civil forfeiture statute. No, you don't.
What if you have money in there that has nothing to do with the drugs?
That's an interesting question. I don't know how that works out. I think they just assume that all the cash in the car is in the course and scope of that drug.
I just think that's a completely and totally different situation, though. If you find drugs in the car, that's one thing. But if you just find money and you just assume, oh, this must be a drug dealer because he's got a large amount of cash in his car, and then you think that you can take it because you're a cop, I just think that should be completely and totally illegal. That is just government overreach.
Yeah, I mean, and just so I can make the law clear to people listening out there. So Mississippi law allows for pre-conviction seizures. That's when they actually seize the property, and even a permanent forfeiture. Forfeiture is when you don't get it back, right? You're forfeited without a criminal conviction. The process is civil, and the burden is lower than a criminal trial, like I was saying before, which is why these laws are often criticized for potential abuse, like the situation here that you're talking about.
So question. So if they find drugs, and they find an amount of cash and they take it, they seize it, and they forfeit it, then you go to court and you are cleared or the charges are dropped. Can you then turn around and file some sort of suit or some sort of motion to get your property back?
I don't know about if you're cleared, but prior to all that happening, you can contest the forfeiture in court, which is what this Mr. Chung did.
Well,
He
I would
contested
guess
it.
so.
Yeah,
I mean, he
you
didn't
can
even do
contest.
anything wrong.
Yeah, you can contest it, and he lost during the trial for that. He lost that, so if it was forfeited, and then
Who was the judge? Our
it was in Rankin
Shaun
County.
Tyndall?
No,
Because I mean, he has a way of making some horrible decisions when it comes to being a judge.
No, it was in, I think, I don't know, it was in Rankin County somewhere. I'm not sure what court, but they appealed to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, I think, or the Court of Appeals reversed the decision, and now Rankin County is doing what's called a writ of certiorari to the Supreme Court. So they're going to like rehear it to see what they think about it. But the Court of Appeals.
So the man still has not gotten his money back?
I would think not until the Supreme Court has accepted it. So probably not. No,
It just does not seem like it should be legal in any way.
And this happened back in September of 2020. So it's been, almost 5 years of this. The court's ruling was October 8th of 2024. They reversed and rendered, and they found that the state did not produce adequate evidence that the cash was related to controlled substances, which makes sense here because there was no drugs found. There was some other facts too about it where, again, I could see how they thought it was. Like they called, so the guy who was driving, this Chung guy, was calling somebody that was under investigation by the DEA in New York. So there was some drug affiliate stuff going on. It sounded like there was some, I mean, to me it sounds like, yeah, he probably was involved in something, because then he had they found his tax returns and he only made like $40,000 a year, and he had all this money.
But what, does it matter? Like, what if his father left him all that money? What if that's all the money that he had in the world?
Well,
and now this has created a hardship for him. He can't pay rent. He can't pay bills. He can't put gas in his vehicle. I mean, I think he should have a major lawsuit against the state.
Yeah, that was his argument too, that this was actually his life savings that he had saved from.
I mean, it could be. There's nothing to prove it's not.
Yeah, and that's that's what the court looks at. The court found they reversed it because they said the state lacks sufficient proof linking the money to illegal drug activity, and therefore it couldn't lawfully seize and keep the funds. So, and that's I think in this case I agree with their ruling. So don't get me wrong. I don't think we're on a different side here. I'm just telling you where I could see where the police and the county made that argument based on certain factors. I get that. The problem, I think, again, here is because he didn't have any dope in the car. So that makes it kind of, but you just said when I put the hypothetical to he does have dope in the car, then you're like, okay with it, right?
Well, because I mean, they obviously see that this is not a hypothetical anything. You're not assuming anything.
Right.
It's fact. You're seeing it with your own two eyes.
Yeah. I mean,
so I think that's a completely different scenario.
Sure. But it's still, but I guess what I'm saying, the underlying principle though, is that you're still, well, it kind of goes back to the scenario you just brought up. So let's say you see the dope, but then you get off the charge and you still don't get your stuff back. Then you have a problem in that aspect too, right? So that kind of goes to what I'm talking about. Like, should you be able to seize and forfeit it prior to a conviction? Then that seems to be one of the arguments against the forfeiture laws. It's like, should you be able to? I think we should wait until someone's actually convicted to do this. I think that's more appropriate. But but there's arguments for it. I mean, like they say, it disrupts drug trafficking if you do that quick. It deters crime. It funds law enforcement, which is good, and I understand why they want the money.
I wonder how much of it they stick in their pockets.
I'm not going to name names or anything, but I've heard stories about, think about it. Like if you're a cop and like there's $100,000 in the car and you're like, nobody's going to miss
a couple hundred.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard those stories over the years being involved in the line of work that I've been in.
We got to take a break. Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back here on WIB 103.9. Stay with us. We'll be right back here on WIB 103.9.
WYAB.
Did you know that the average 6-room house collects 40 pounds of dust each year? Local business Pure Air Consultants duct cleaning service can rid your home of the dust, dirt, and debris that may be caught in your air ducts. They can eliminate the mold, fungi, and microbes that might be growing inside your ductwork and polluting the air you breathe in your home. Mention WYAB and receive a free UV light with system replacement. Visit online at mypureairconsultants.com. mypureairconsultants.com.
Nick Bain served Mississippi for over a decade in the State House. During that time, he fought for our children by protecting them against explicit materials pushed by the woke agenda. He protected taxpayers by streamlining government and helped create policies that have made Mississippi better. Nick and his team at Bain Bowen will use the same tenacity in helping you with all your legal matters. Call them today at 601-953-2994. Find Nick online at bainbowen.com. That's BAIN Bowen.com.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Doctor, the AC doctor, what's your diagnosis? My whole house was hot as a fever. Now my house is frozen, 'cause my air condition's so. Doctor, my AC's broken. Doctor, the AC doctor, heal my house, bless my soul.
The AC Doctors is your one-stop provider for air conditioning and heating installation, service, and repair. Contact us for money-saving repairs and lower energy bills.
Doctor, the AC doctor, heal my house, bless my soul.
Google the AC Doctors and get some relief today. TheACDR.com.
You know what's a nightmare? We've all seen that movie where the bad guy's coming and your gun jams up. Luckily, that's just a movie, but you can't take the chance it could happen to you in real life. Hey, y'all, I'm Therese Apel from Dark Horse Press, and I've written stories about a whole lot of situations where people needed their gun to work for them. So if yours is moody or likes to jam, you need to take it to Guns and Gear. Let their professional gunsmiths look at it and fix it so it'll work when you need it. They're the absolute best at what they do, and that's why I buy all my guns from them. That's Guns and Gear in Gluckstadt. Check them out today.
Hi, this is Mary Beth Hardy, owner of Flora Pharmacy. Flora Pharmacy is proud to be locally owned and operated. We believe in the power of community and personalized care. At Flora Pharmacy, we treat you like family. And for your convenience, we offer curbside service and prescription home delivery. Just pull up and we'll bring your prescriptions right to you. Can't make it to our store? Flora Pharmacy will drive it to your doorstep. Come see the best pharmacy in town today at Flora Pharmacy, where care meets convenience. Highway 49 in Flora.
Rotor's Plumbing of Pearl, your familiar plumber with these similar names. Locally owned and operated by Chris Rotor. Rotor's Plumbing is no franchise, simply lower prices and better service without the dreaded overpriced upsell. Rotor's is one of the few places you'll find that actually specialize in tankless water heater repair, as well as being your full-service plumber. And most importantly, service after the sale, meaning the techs actually answer your call, with misses averaging callbacks of 10 minutes or less. Rotor's Plumbing at ROEDERSplumbing.com.
Come together right now.
We are back here on Crossing the Aisle with Shaun and Lindsey, where Shaun's just living his best life on his last day being 45 years old.
Thank you so much. Keep on mentioning that. I appreciate it. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. My sister
Get
called me this
older.
morning and said, "What are you guys going to do for your birthday?" I'm like, "I'll be 46. Nobody gives a crap when you."
I care about your
You know,
birthday.
I mean, you don't really. It's not like, it's not like when you're younger and you're like, "Oh my God, we're going to go do something for my birthday." Now it's just.
I've had the best time this week producing Kim Wade's show in the afternoons. We had a blast yesterday.
Yes, that's
If
it's a
you-
lovely masterpiece of entertainment and media there on the Kim Wade Show.
Yeah, I text Clay because I was trying to listen to the first segment of the second hour of his show yesterday was devoted entirely to Shaun, and it
Yeah.
was hilarious. And I went to listen to it on the way here, but Clay messed up and he put the part of his show as the second hour of Kim Wade show, so I couldn't listen to it again. But once he gets it fixed, I'll let y'all know, so you can go listen
You
to
know,
Kim Wade roast
what
Shaun.
what was one of the? I had the text I sent to you guys during the show. One of Kim's. I love the Kim Wade quotes during his show that I like try to keep track of as much as I can. I think it was
Well, you
something-
made fun of him for saying he was at a prayer meeting.
Oh yeah, Bible study. No, he was at Bible study.
You made fun of him for saying something about a patch, and then you put in a Nazi patch. Just
Oh
like,
yeah,
you know,
this is
like-
what he said. So they were talking. Somebody was arguing with him about the WMDs in Iraq. Because they were like, "Look, we didn't find them. They said they were there." And Kim said, "That doesn't mean they weren't there because we couldn't find them."
Well, he's right. I mean, sometimes things are hard to find.
I don't think they hid them that well.
There's tunnels and underground stuff over there. They hide all their stuff.
I have a feeling we'd have found them, and if we had, it would have been blown up all over the news. Like we found the WMDs, but we didn't.
Blown up.
Yeah,
Nice play on words there.
There you go. But anyway, so yeah, so you're gonna do Kim's show again today, right?
I am. I'll be back with him this afternoon.
What's the topic? Adrenochrome, or
that's real
trails, or I don't know.
Adrenochrome's real. I'm telling you.
I feel enlightened.
Yeah, we watched that documentary the other night on Astro World and Travis Scott, and I was trying to explain to Shaun that I swear that was some sort of sacrifice, like demonic, satanic sacrifice that he offered up.
Why does it always go to the extremes with you?
Because he was like on stage in this trance and humming this.
I mean, he's probably just high. Like people just get high.
No,
they
he knew people in that crowd were dying.
Like
and
Elon.
He knew people in that crowd were dying, and he would not stop.
Elon really wasn't mad at Trump. He was just high, like really high. I mean, and he messed up because he was high.
I think he found some of.
People do a lot of messed up things when they're high and drunk.
Biden's son's drugs and the.
People do a lot of messed up things when they're high and drunk. And by the way, 4th of July is coming up. So if you are going to get drunk, call an Uber. But if you don't, you can come to my website at onetextlaw.com. And I will help you out because it is going to be a busy 4th of July weekend. The police will be
I heard there's going to be round number 2 of the No Kings protests.
Oh, really?
On the 4th of July.
Oh, that's what they're going to do. Well, I'm just in any regards, whether you're protesting in the No Kings protest or you're protesting against the No Kings, whatever you're doing, you're going to be drinking. So if you are drinking, call an Uber. If you don't and you get in trouble, please call me and I will be glad to help you out. And that is onetextlaw.com. But speaking of the law, we were talking about civil forfeitures in Mississippi.
Speaking of the law, we got some sad news out of Pearl. I wanted to mention that.
Oh, that's right. Dean Scott
passed away.
Yeah, that was pretty sad. He's an infamous JPD officer, part of the old school of that. I've known who he is.
He worked in child trafficking and just a really, really great guy. I was so sad to hear about that.
Great reputation. Really, that was really sad to hear. Prayers for his family and everybody too.
Yeah,
so he's really served the community well after all this time. So
yeah.
We're talking about civil forfeiture laws, and what the people are arguing that the civil forfeiture laws should be abolished entirely and replaced with what's called a criminal forfeiture, where the conviction is required. It's kind of what I was telling you. Like it would be, you'd make sure that somebody was convicted of that crime before you took their property.
Why can't, if you find drugs in the car, why can't you just hold the property?
Well, you would. That's what I'm saying. There's two differences between seizing and forfeiting. So seizing is when you're seizing the property once you've arrested them. You could hold it until they're convicted and then forfeit it. And
like in some sort of evidence locker.
Yeah, I mean, like
somewhere.
we do with all my clients. Like they hold all their property until the resolution. I mean, that's what they do in most cases. So yeah, they'd seize it to that point, and then they could, after a conviction, forfeit it. I think that would be more appropriate. Where like you wouldn't run into situations like this Chung guy where. He's not convicted of it. I don't think he was ever charged with a crime, as far as I know. I didn't see that in the opinion. But anyway, his property gets seized and forfeited it when he wasn't. I don't think they. Did you read that? I didn't read that he was charged with anything ever.
No, because he didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, so
they just took his money for no reason.
Yeah, that's an issue, I think, and
it's a big issue.
And I don't know that many people would probably agree with that.
I feel like he's for sure got a huge lawsuit on his hands.
But I mean, I bet you though. The thing with this is there's no way the legislature is going to pass this. This is never going to happen. Because I mean, even when I worked at the DA's office, it was like, we did it because you're like, well, this funds a lot of things. And just like anything that funds a lot of things, you want to get rid of it. I mean, I don't blame the county for doing it. If it's the law, I'd do it too because it's going to fund law enforcement. I mean, I get it.
But you can't just take somebody's money. That's stealing. Those cops stole his money.
Well, I'm not saying they stole it.
They
it's
took
legal.
it.
I mean,
they took it for no reason because they suspected something that turned out not to be the case. They stole. That is stealing.
No, I don't think so.
When you take something that is not yours, that is stealing.
No, I don't think they stole it. I mean, first of all,
how do you not see that?
I'll explain it because when you steal something, you go to court and get them to prove it. Like that's what they did. They went to a court competent jurisdiction who approved it. So that's not stealing. When you go and steal something, you don't go to court.
I'm sorry.
Only time you go to court if you get charged for stealing it. That's not what
Somebody
happened here.
pulls me over and says, "Oh, I just think that you might be doing something wrong, even though there's no evidence of it here. So I'm just going to take your stuff." I beg to differ. No, you're not.
Okay, that's the law right now, and they followed the legal procedure, and a court approved that. That's not stealing. That's just
the court was wrong, and it is stealing.
I mean, I think the court was wrong too, and apparently the Court of Appeals felt the same way.
Maybe it's stealing by the government, but it is still stealing. You cannot just take someone's stuff when they haven't broken the law. He didn't break the law.
But if it's not stealing, if it's legal, and so that's what I'm saying. Like, change the law. That's why I'm having. Look, we're agreeing that this should not be the law, but it is the law, and so I think you would have to change it with a criminal forfeiture instead of the civil forfeiture process that we've got. And that's fine. I think we should do that. I don't think the legislature is going to touch this at all, of course, because they don't touch anything that's,
I bet they touch it
controversial.
I bet you they touch it when he comes back with some outrageous number of a lawsuit and wins it, because that's wrong. That is wrong in every way, shape, or form.
Well, I mean, he's already, he's already now. He already won at the Court of Appeals. I imagine he's going to win at the Supreme Court,
and then he's going to turn around and sue Mississippi. I guarantee you.
Well, that is not my area in terms of suing for something like that. So I'm not sure what his legal, what his basis would be. But I mean, they did follow the law. I don't, I mean, I guess it's the point of whether you think the law is right. I don't think the law is right either, but they did follow it. They didn't do anything.
Okay, well, then the law is written in a way that they are okaying for law enforcement to steal from citizens of Mississippi. That's the case then.
Yeah,
because that's you can't.
That's
you take
a fine
somebody's
argument.
stuff when they didn't break the law. He did nothing wrong.
And that's a fine argument. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying, but the law is written for them to be able to do that. So they didn't violate the law. So that doesn't mean they stole anything. Like,
it was his money.
But it's
he had it in his vehicle.
Lindsay, they seized it. They took it to a court. It was contested in court, or they filed the forfeiture action in court. It was contested. They had a hearing on it. The judge said this is okay. I mean,
the
that's
judge
not
ruled
stealing.
It was okay to steal then, because they stole his money.
I mean, he evaluated the evidence, and that's what that judge ruled. I don't agree with the ruling, but I'm just saying that's what they ruled. So it's not stealing. They followed a legal process. Now they followed the process again, and the Court of Appeals said this was not right. I agree with the Court of Appeals as well. Now, what you need to do, because you love going to the legislature and listen to those folks talk about, whatever Jesus takes the wheel act or whatever they're going to pass this time, get them to fix stuff that actually impacts Mississippians like this, that would be a good
My
thing.
issues impact Mississippians every day.
Well, you just are railing about this is a stealing law. So I'm just saying,
stole
I will
his
make
money.
you a bet right now that no legislator is going to touch this. Like, I will make you a bet.
I'm telling you, this man's going to turn around and sue Mississippi.
No legislature.
And win.
And why do you think they're not going to touch it? Because you know why? It's the same thing with that whole reducing the penalties on possession of methamphetamine stuff that we talked about with Daniel Sparks. Remember? Like that whole thing. Like what a lot of other legislators did, and I'm not going to call it by name, but I could, is,
stop it.
The sheriff's departments were supporting law enforcement. That's what they did. That instead, like, all of us that actually practice law or in the system know how this works. It's like, this is kind of BS. So, like, that's what I'm saying. That's not going to happen here either. So this is never going to change, is my point. So really, you need to focus your ire not on me or the court, but the legislature who handles this.
Well, I think the court's opinion was wrong, and I think that was very clearly.
We have a process
stealing.
to change laws, and you are very good at that, and you work on that stuff all the time. So you could propose, I could help you draft this bill, but no one's going to touch it. Like, I'm telling you that right now, and I'll bet you $100 no one touches it. Because they ain't going to change it. I mean, they're not.
I can be persuasive.
It's not going to change. I mean, they couldn't even lower the penalties on methamphetamine. Like,
all right, we got to take a break.
Couldn't even do that.
Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back here to argue some more on Crossing the LWIB 103.9. We'll be right back. On Crossing the LWIB 103.9. We'll be right back.
Keep it tuned here to 103.9 WYAB.
Pure Air Consultants has always been your go-to for reliable and affordable heating and cooling systems, and now we are offering day and night brand to avoid the 25 to 30% increases that everyone is talking about. With day and night, Pure Air Consultants professionals can install a reliable system with a 10-year system warranty, and right now receive $20 off on service diagnostic fees. Call us today, 601-939-7420, mypureairconsultants.com.
I'm Sean Yurtkaran, and I've spent nearly 20 years in the courtroom. First as a prosecutor in Hinds County, now fighting for my clients as a defense attorney. I know how the system works, and I know how to protect your rights. If you're facing criminal charges, don't wait. Call me at 601-862-1320 or visit me at onetextlaw.com. That's onetextlaw.com. Serious cases need serious defense. And remember, just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. Let's get to work.
Peace, love, and pizza. Happy Collie Days from Johnny's Pizza House. Try our new cauliflower crust today. 10 inches of crunchy good vibes for a limited time only. Groove on in and share a slice today. Peace, love, and pizza from Johnny's Pizza House.
Win free pizza for a year this summer at Johnny's Pizza House. Your pizza's already a work of art. Now, let it win you free pizza for a year. Just snap a pic with your favorite pizza and enter to win at johnnysph.com/share-my-slice. Peace, love, and pizza at Johnny's Pizza House.
Are you looking to get stronger, fitter, and push your limits? CrossFit Fondren is where Jackson trains. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned athlete, our expert coaches and supportive community will help you crush your goals. Join us for high-intensity workouts that build strength, endurance, and confidence. No gimmicks, just real results. Try your first class today for free. Visit us at CrossFitFondren.com or stop by the gym 3002 North Mill Street in Jackson, in the heart of Fondren.
CBS News Brief. As President Trump considers bombing Iran's nuclear facilities, U.S. law enforcement is watching for trouble in this country from Iranian allies. Here's CBS's Jennifer Jacobs.
Multiple sources told CBS News that FBI Director Kash Patel has increased efforts to monitor possible domestic sleeper cells linked to Hezbollah.
The Supreme Court has rejected federal efforts to limit where vape companies can challenge product restrictions. Legal analyst Lori Levinson.
Ultimately, this is probably a win for R.J. Reynolds and those who want to market vaping products and e-cigarettes to the youth.
Here comes summer with Mother Nature in mid-season form. Here's CBS News meteorologist Rob Marciano.
Summer arrives tonight at 10:42 Eastern Time, and right on cue, Mother Nature is cooperating with a heat wave building, the hottest air of the year, into the Midwest and eventually really the eastern two-thirds of the country.
CBS News Brief. I'm Peter King.
Spring Street Cigars is now open in Jackson, Mississippi. Discover the state's finest cigar experience right in the heart of Highland Village. Join us June 21st for our grand opening celebration at 4409 Old Canton Road. Relax, unwind, and explore our premium cigar selection in a world-class lounge setting. With 10 locations and counting, Spring Street Cigars brings luxury and tradition together. Spring Street Cigars, Mississippi's finest cigar lounge.
School's out, and McBee's in Ridgeland is the perfect place for family fun this summer. Enjoy our famous $12 Blue Plate specials every Monday through Friday, and now kids eat for just $5. That's right, just $5. Bring out the whole crew and enjoy our huge patio with lots of TVs, plenty of fans, and a safe space where kids can play while you kick back and relax. Family friendly, budget friendly, and always a good time. McBee's Bar and Grill, buzzing the res since 1982. Check out McBee's Bar and Grill on Facebook for today's special.
All Britain's Jewelers. When love requires a gift, nothing says it better than All Britain's. Since 1920, we've been part of your family. From weddings and anniversaries to holidays, we've been there for every special occasion. At All Britain's, we value your trust. Every gift, whether large or small, is a reflection of our commitment to quality and excellence. There's a reason we're still Mississippi's foremost diamond merchant. Let us show you why. All Britain's Jewelry, 4460 Old Canton Road in Jackson.
All Britain's Jewelers.
The weather is heating up and the deals are even hotter at Mazda of Jackson. Right now at Mazda of Jackson, you can drive home your dream Mazda with low financing rates available. 2.9% for 72 months on most models, or finance 36 months and pay just 0.9%. That's right, 0.9%. Experience Mazda's exhilarating performance, top-notch safety, and reliability. It's time to choose Mazda. Shop online at MazdaofJackson.com or visit Mazda of Jackson, I-55 Frontage Road in Jackson.
Come together.
We are back here on Crossing the Aisle with Shaun and Lindsey. I believe we have somebody on the line. Let's see. Caller, are you there?
Hello?
Hey, you're on the air.
Yes, I have a question to what's being on the radio now. I didn't get to listen to the whole thing, but I'm listening to the legislation part of changing the law to take property.
Yeah, civil forfeiture is what we're talking about. Yeah.
Guy was saying that, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
That legislation wouldn't touch changing that law. If it's an unconstitutional law, why would nobody touch it?
Well, I don't know that it's unconstitutional. The
I think
Supreme
it
Court's
is.
not.
I
Well, this
cannot hear. I'm going to turn the radio up and hang up for your answer.
sure,
I'm so sorry.
sure.
Okay, thanks for calling.
I don't know that I don't think the Supreme Court's ever said that it's unconstitutional. I think
I
Lindsay's
say
on-
it's
Well, you're saying
unconstitutional.
it's more like it's unethical. I think
Both.
the situation is the reason I say to answer your question about the legislators. It's this isn't not just in Mississippi, but this is all states. They often avoid reforming civil asset forfeiture laws because it's a mix of like political, financial, and like institutional reasons. When you really think about it, the police and prosecutors profit from the forfeitures. Believe me, I know. I worked at the DA's office. In Mississippi, I think it's something like agencies can keep up to 80% of forfeited assets. So it creates a powerful financial incentive to keep the status quo going. I get that. Been in that business. Totally understand why they do it and why they want to do it. It's also part of like tough on crime politics. Legislators are going to be, they fear they're going to be labeled soft on crime if they vote to limit law enforcement powers like forfeiting, stuff like this. Reining in forfeiture laws, especially without a conviction, can be spun as protecting drug dealers, even if it's really protecting due process. I think that's, another issue. So, I mean, there's reasons why political, just like I was talking about before, I don't know if the lady called and heard that, why we didn't reduce the penalty for simple possession, which everybody agreed, and back channels behind closed doors that there's something we should do. It's because of political reasons. It wasn't practicality reasons. It had nothing to do with practicality.
Well, what people had a problem with that bill was that it would allow, I guess, a first offense, a lesser
as a
sentence.
misdemeanor, right? For I can't even remember the bill now, but it was like allowing a certain amount of methamphetamine.
So there are people that just saw that one part of it, and then they had a problem with it without reading the whole thing and realizing that what the whole bill did was really good.
Yeah, I mean, and even the part about reducing that amount, it was like a small amount of methamphetamine, I don't know if it was a gram or whatever it was, but to a misdemeanor made complete sense. Anybody that's works in the criminal justice system agrees. Maybe they might not say that on the record. I'll say it on the record. That we should do that, but it looks as this whole we're soft on crime stuff, which is a loaded baloney in my mind. And that's why they didn't do it, and the legislature didn't do it. And that's why they're not going to do it. I mean, that's why they're not going to do this, because they're not going to, they'll really piss some people off if they did this. They're not going to do it. That's my point. So that's why I'm challenging you, Lindsay, since you're always connected to those folks, and you put up a bill like this and see who touches it, because this ain't going to happen.
Hey, look, I banned porn.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, they're okay with that because they can play the, good Christian values on that one. So that makes them look nothing but good. I mean, it doesn't ever look bad to say I'm banning.
Well, this is.
Should be changed, and we don't change them for political reasons. Our entire drug statutes are that, going back to the methamphetamine example, like we have a war on drugs that is a war on our own friends and family that has, by the way, has never worked. It's never been effective.
Here we go.
I mean, it is a high horse.
We don't have time to go into that discussion.
I'm just saying, like, since we started the war on drugs during the Nixon administration, and it's been a complete failure. It's not even a war.
We need Mike Madison to come on and discuss that with you.
Yeah, we lost it. I mean, it's not. The drugs won. I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag on that one. The drugs won. We lost, and but we still, still got to look tough on crime. So we got to have all these hard punishments on drugs. It's absolutely ridiculous, but it's not going to work. It's not going to work today. It didn't work 50 years ago. It's not going to work 50 years from now.
It might work for some people.
The problem is it's hard to outlaw, and history has shown us this, things that people want. And like,
it wasn't hard with porn.
They're still getting it. They got a VPN. I mean, there's plenty of porn sites. I can pull one up right here, right now, without a VPN.
No, you can't, because we're on the radio. We can't.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that right now. Later, but not now. So I mean, during the 1920s, during Prohibition, the distribution of alcohol and the rise of the mafia exponentially worse because of that, because liquor was outlawed. It increased crime. That's why they repealed it like 11 years later, or whatever. I think it was about 11 years later. And so whenever you try to outlaw things that people want, what do they want? Drugs, alcohol, prostitution, and gambling. Those are things people are going to get. They're going to access it somehow.
Not in Mississippi. You can't gamble.
Or you can't at casino.
You can't do the sports betting thing. You can't do that.
You can sports bet at the casino, but not on. I guess not. Aren't they changing the online? I don't know. I don't. You know me. I don't gamble, so I don't know how that is. But I know you can go to the casino and do it, but I don't know about the online thing yet. But that's just my point. Well, even there. Okay, glad you brought that up. The whole coast was basically run by the Dixie Mafia when all that was outlawed. I mean, it was, and that's why they were like, this has gotten out of control. The Gold Coast here, right next to Hinds County and Rankin County, was all illegal gambling and alcohol and all that stuff. When you ban stuff people want, they're going to get it. They're going to get it illegally. You're not going to stop it. You just make the problem worse. And time after time.
Well, then tell your people to quit with the whole guns issue. Then
what? Talking about like outlawing guns?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I agree with you. I don't think we should do that. It's insane. I mean, it would make the problem far worse, just like it has with drugs, and that's why I'm against that. So, but that's not going to change, because we're never going to have common sense drug laws, because nobody's going to have the political will to do that. Like, this is never going to happen. Even though
what would be a common sense drug law?
That we'd focus more on treatment than incarceration. I'm not saying legalize cocaine or crack or anything like that, but that would be the primary focus on the drug laws, especially the user laws. I mean, because these people, okay, so they could get arrested on a simple possession. Maybe they go to drug court, they get out, they get back on drugs, and then they got like a second felony, and they go to jail. I mean, that's not, they're getting more drugs in jail. It's not making the problem better. They're still an addict. This is not working.
Yeah, but I mean, I can understand after having so many chances, you want to eliminate that person from being on the street driving and being able to hurt someone else.
Yeah, and then you
see what I'm saying?
Right, and then you sent them to jail where it hurt, their record gets tarnished. They can't even get a job when they get out. And
I'm not saying the first offense, but how do you protect other people, innocent people on the street, when someone's had 20 DUIs? He needs to go to jail.
When someone has had 20 DUIs? Yeah, I mean, but that's a different crime you're talking about. You're talking about somebody
operating
a
drug.
But you're talking about somebody operating a motor vehicle while they're on something. That's a different issue than like if I'm just smoking crack at my house. I mean, it's a different issue.
Well, normally cops are going to come bust down your door for no reason.
Or if you're just you're a user of drugs that's not behind a motor vehicle, I think it's a different situation. Obviously, if you are, that's a problem. You're consistently doing that. Certainly, I think, you should be punished for that. But I think that's different than being a simple user or an addict. And I think we should treat the addiction instead of focus on incarceration.
Hey, caller, you're on the air.
Yes, I was listening to the show earlier, and you had said that the moon landing was fake.
It is.
And I just wanted to tell him, absolutely, it is so fake.
See, Shaun?
And we've been lied to.
We have, absolutely. They faked it 1,000,000%. I completely agree with you.
About many things, not just about that.
You are correct.
But people really need to wake up,
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you all the way. Shaun's shaking his head over there. He wants to beat his head. He gets so tired of me talking about the moon landing, but I'm like, it's just so obvious.
400,000 people worked on the Apollo project. That's all I'm gonna say.
They didn't know.
Earth. It's a flat Earth. We're not a spinning ball either.
I'm not quite sold on that one yet. All right. Thanks for calling.
Thanks.
Shaun?
I can't comment. I don't know. That's fine.
Oh, he gets so tired of me talking about the moon landing, but it was faked. It absolutely was.
Yeah.
And with that, we're going to take our last commercial.
They hid it from the 400,000 people that worked on the Apollo project.
I have told you 10 million times. There was a studio set up. Those people thought that it was really happening too.
Yeah, they just hid the
There
secret.
weren't 400,000 people that were in on it,
Right,
Shaun.
I know. That's right. Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong were like, totally we're in on this. Totally down with it. Makes complete sense.
It was totally and completely faked.
Okay.
All right, we're going to take our last commercial break. Y'all stay with us. We will be right back here to wrap things up for the week on WIB 103.9. To wrap things up for the week on WIB 103.9.
1039 WYAB.
If you ever been stuck on the side of the road with engine trouble or because of an accident, you know how frustrating that can be. I'm Chad Stevens of Chad Stevens Wrecker Service. We'll help take some of the stress out of this stressful situation. We've been rated by AAA as one of the top 10 towing services in the entire USA. Why? Well, just ask our customers. So keep our number in your cell phones and call us if you need us. 662-755-8645. That's Chad Stevens Wrecker Service. 662-755-8645.
Can anyone in Jackson say the name of Bravo, Broad Street, and Salonmuki's catering company?
Yes.
Let's find out.
Mangia Benny.
Mangia Ben. Mangia Benet? It actually is Mangia Benet. Mangia Benet. It's Mangia Benet. It means eat well in Italian, and it's the catering group for Bravo, Broad Street, and Salonmuki.
Mangia Benet Catering. Choose us, and you'll always eat well. 3 restaurants, 1 call. Mangia Benet Catering.
Mangia Benet.
Friday mornings are special here on 103.9 WYAB. That's when we hit the pause button on the stressful issues of the day and enjoy interesting conversation and terrific music by some of the most outstanding artists in the world, all from Mississippi. I'm Jim Thorne, inviting you to join us every Friday morning at 9 for That's What's Happening's Blues and Arts Hour, made possible by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Mississippi. It's good to be blue, and presented by one-of-a-kind, locally owned Fusion Coffee House, Highland Colony Parkway, Ridgeland.
Hello, I'm Gary Jolly from the Tractor Store. LS Tractor understands your passion for the land, and just like you, LS Tractor is committed to excellence and superior products. LS Tractor comes with a long list of standard features that are unmatched by other brands and backed with the LS commitment to provide exceptional customer service and satisfaction. You get a lot more for your money with the LS Tractor. Come to the Tractor Store in Richland to experience the LS difference. The Tractor Store in Richland.
Attention homeowners and business owners. Complete Exteriors is now Elite Roofing and Gutters. Are your roof and gutters storm ready? The folks at Elite are your local experts in storm protection. Now is the time for an inspection and for proactive solutions that ensure your roof and gutters can withstand any storm. Get up to a possible $250 rebate on a new roofing system for all active military, veterans, and retirees. Online at eliteroofer.com.
If you're a parent or grandparent, you should know that even though Mississippi is ranked as the unhealthiest state in the country, we have the highest vaccination rate for our children and grandchildren. Many of us blindly trust the medical establishment, and now it's time to question vaccine safety. Mississippi Parents for Vaccine Rights is a grassroots organization working to educate the public and lawmakers about this important topic. Be informed. Go to mpvr.org. Like us on Facebook to stay up to date on the latest information. That's Mississippi Parents for Vaccine Rights, mpvr.org.
Yazoo Valley Electric Power Association wants you to stay away from downed power lines. Downed power lines carry the risk of deadly electric shock, even if the broken wire is not sparking. If a wire is crossing a road or driveway, avoid the area and keep others away. If you see a downed power line, back away and call your utility company or 911. When you call, be prepared to provide the specific address or location of the downed power line so a repair crew can get there as quickly as possible. This safety message brought to you by Yazoo Valley Electric Power Association.
Dr. Mike Stonington here from Stonington Farm Grass-Fed Beef. We are grass-fed and grass-finished beef. No hormones, no antibiotics, no grain, no broad spraying of herbicides or pesticides. And never, I mean never, do we use mRNA vaccines. We are 100% local and 100% Mississippi. Our calves are born in Mississippi, raised on Stonington Farm, and processed in Mississippi. Contact us at StoningtonFarm.com. That's StoningtonFarm.com with 2 N's. We are the grass-fed difference.
Come together.
We are back here to wrap up things on this beautiful Friday afternoon. Shaun, It's almost your birthday. Someone asked when we would know about updating the podcast. Shaun said he might work on that Sunday. We are going to get that done for those of you that want to listen on podcast platforms. And I had a good meeting yesterday. We have a new sponsor coming on that we'll get to tell you about sometime next week that I'm super excited about. Can't wait for that.
Yeah, that's going to be cool. Like we got hopefully got some other people deciding they're going to sponsor and they want to listen to this craziness between the two of us if you really want to. Like I don't know why, but
Someone said earlier it sounded like there are two attorneys arguing. See, Shaun, I've just already got my law degree.
Yes, that's amazing.
Just
How
from
it's so
arguing with
simple,
you.
right? No law school, no money spent. It's just automatically everybody gets it. So it's so simple.
I mean, when you can argue, you can argue, you know.
It actually, law school actually really isn't that hard, to be honest with you. See, I thought it was easier than college. You only had one test a year, so you could just drink the entire rest of the time.
Sounds like my kind of school right there.
It was the bar that was hard. Really.
All right. Well, we will be back here Monday, and Shaun will be 46. We'll see you then. Bye.
Yeah.